To hearing from you, although your letter did state, but I look forward to. I hope we'll have fruitful deliberations today to advance the cause of the bar, nationally and continentally. You know, and I was telling Hannibal that I will do my best. First week in August will be tough for me. 2 weeks to a conference and my handover. So, but I would do. Yeah, that's what it be. What's your money? Yes, it's 2 years. Yes, it's 2 years in 5 months also. So handover. So I will do my best to see how we can just rush over to. It's not. Is it still Blantyre? They call it. That's the colonial name. It's Lilongwe. Lilongwe. So some of them have changed all those colonial names. So it's Lilongwe.
Blantyre is still there.
Oh, there's still another city called Blantyre. Are you sure?
Yes. They moved the capital. Like they moved to Blantyre is still there, but Lilongwe is there. Lilongwe is a city.
Glad that you are here. It has been a very eventful 18 to 19 months for us at the NBA. We are your association. We have tried as much as possible to turn things around and then bring us back to where we were before now, when our society, our government, our people, whenever we speak, whenever they listen. And we're trying to put the NBA back in that position. As far as our activities on the subcontinent and the continent are concerned, I have been a little bit slack on that because of so much to do in-house. But I know that they have set up a group. So what do you call it? Falano's WAFBA? West African Yes, WABA. So WABA were trying very hard to come back together. The Sierra Leonean, my counterpart in Sierra Leone has set up a WhatsApp group for us to talk. They had a meeting in Ghana. Of course, AFBA, I've always been in touch with I'm sorry, this is a past president. Let me just take it. Excuse me. Mr. President, sir. Came recently for Palu. What did they write again? Something about we should come and do Palu. I said, the issues at home are many. Let me focus on those ones. But somebody wrote me recently about Palu. But which is to say that one thing that is clear in my mind is that, and which is why I'm happy we're having this meeting, NBA must take a position on the continent. amongst the bar associations and the law societies on the continent. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's a gaping hole.
Exactly.
Our absence is obvious,
Yeah.
very apparent. So we must step into that role. Same thing for the IBA. We, strangely enough, I've been a very active member of the IBA. We have been very active. But with COVID and all of that, I have not gone. The two conferences were cancelled. The two conferences were cancelled in 2020 and 2021. So I'm going to Lithuania in May. That will be my first official IBA function. We have a mid-year meeting. IBA has mid-year meetings and an annual conference. So annual conference is going to be in Miami. By that time, I will have handed over. So I will go for the mid-year meeting, just because Nigeria, there's no doubt that we need to take our place in all of those bodies. So I welcome you. I'm very keen to hear that has brought you here, and then I will continue the conversation once you have alerted me to whatever the issues are. But I welcome you and I thank each and every one of you here. Unfortunately, today is Friday. The national officers who sometimes are around have all gone back to base. I am staying because I have a wedding I need to attend tomorrow here in Abuja. But I'm sure I can hold the fort for them. Thank you.
Our host, the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, our brother, I think I should stand up. No, I think it's always more comfortable for me here, both as a lawyer and as a parliamentarian. Well, let me express my profound appreciation for the opportunity to be your guest this afternoon. Like you said, it has long been coming. In fact, you were the very first person, your office was the very first that we had wanted to meet with when we came on board in February this year. The Nigerian chapter, the African Bar Association. We are happy today that you gave us this privilege. A number of our top officers couldn't adjust to the adjustment in time. That is why many of them are not here. Like Ifeku Omegui, who is a member of the council, is unavoidably absent because of the time adjustment. But nevertheless, we still have a good number of us with us here. And let me just introduce them so that you can know them by their name and probably by the position they occupy. And let me start by the far left, General Yusuf Shalangwa. He's a serving general in the Nigerian Army and is a member of the Government Council of the African Bar Association. He's one of our senior members with us here.
The general is one who has always worked hard
Absolutely.
to foster the relationship between the bar and the forces.
Absolutely. Always.
This on record,
Everywhere.
this is our ambassador.
In the Nigerian Army. Thank you so much.
It was because he was wearing his mask.
Yes.
That it immediately recognized that he was. So I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My immediate right is Afam Okoke Esquire. He's also a member.
I'll get quarrel with you. We'll talk after.
So you are heard him say now. I'm sure that your vision is better now. Owojo Adejo Igiri is the vice chairman of the Nigeria chapter of the African Bar Association. Next to him is Austin Atta. He's the immediate past secretary of the Nigerian chapter of the African Bar, now the director of Judiciary and Legal Reforms of the African Bar Association.
Welcome, my brother.
Next to him, yes. Next to him is our brother, my friend, my brother, Akugbe Osanyande.
That's why I said the meeting will have a meeting. You will have a meeting.
No, I would have acceded to that request easily, but we have a general here. We don't know what. So, Akugbe Osanyande is a member of the African Bar, a friend of the African Bar. We are yet to give him an assignment, but there's an assignment waiting for him. The administrator of the Secretariat of the African Bar, Dixon Musa Balami, is a young lawyer in my law firm. Hassan Yusuf is the Secretariat, yes. Hassan Yusuf is also one of our members in the office of the former Attorney General of Taraba State. It's a legal practitioner. And then
what's his name now?
Esudi. Yeah. Then the lady on the immediate left is Aaron Valero. She's the legal assistant to one of the lordships at the National District Court. She is the Assistant General Secretary of the African Bar Association, Nigerian chapter. And then our young lady in charge of the new media in the African Bar, Sibel.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you. And then the director in charge of Young Lawyers Forum for the African Bar. Her name is Mimi Ayua. Very hardworking, energetic. I even doubt whether he sleeps over bar matters, both Nigerian bar, African bar, international bar. She's everywhere.
I know Mimi very well.
Yeah. And then the two counterparts, executive assistant to the chairman of the African Bar, Mitchell Esema.
You're welcome.
Yes. My name is Samson Osagi. I'm the chairman of the African Bar.
You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Chairman, you virtually responded to most of the things, but suffice to say that it's big note that you have such a very robust understanding of what our relationships should be, the African Bar Association and of course the Nigerian Bar Association. In terms of being on ground in this terrain, you are a better teacher, and I quite appreciate that, and it gives me very great privilege to have been able to come on stream to be part of this whole exercise. At the time, you are also the president of the African Bar Association. Permit me to say that I don't need to bore you with too many rhetorics. Just to mention, my address is handed over to you that the visit has become necessary for us to find a symmetry between the African Bar Association and the Nigerian Bar Association. Of course, by its nature, the African Bar Association is supposed to be an amalgam of law societies and bar associations across the continent. And be that as it may, it is of paramount interest for the African Bar Association and particularly the Nigerian Forum to collaborate in many fronts with the Nigerian Bar Association for the common purpose of defending the legal profession, contributing to the welfare of its members, and of course advocating for good governance, justice, and the rule of law. This synergy and partnership is what we have come here to solicit today, Mr. President. As members of the legal profession, we can only be partners and not competitors in any way. For such is the only fundamental basis for the attainment of our respective mandates. The NBA under your watch has been a strong pillar in defense of the rule of law. Mr. President, you have protected the rule of law in office. And as someone once posited, if you protect the rule of law while in office, Mr. President, we thank you for all your efforts. We are ready, Mr. President, to collaborate with the Nigerian Bar Association in the defense of the downtrodden in our society. We've had a meeting with the National Human Rights Commission in which a lot of discussions with respect to the protection and defense of citizens' rights were tabled. Let me use the opportunity, therefore, to commend the National Assembly for the recent amendment to the National Human Rights Act which will strengthen the Commission to carry out its duties in collaboration with the bar, the bench, to protect the defense of the right of the citizens. We are encouraged by the desire of the leadership of the NBA to protect the poor and the vulnerable against the obtrusive elements of the society, including its insistence on respect for judicial decisions and judicial officers. I mean, that was very clear. When your office called the governor of Ebonyi State to order, with respect to the comment, very scathing remarks he made about a ruling that touched on his office. We, on the point of reminiscence, on the immortal ways of the Ganifawa of blessed memory, when he said that the legal profession ought to be and must strive to remain the dependable bastion of hope, help, and succor for the repressed, the oppressed, and of course the suppressed in our society. At the level of the Nigerian chapter of the association, we are putting together a number of programs for volunteers from the body of the members of the legal profession in order to provide them opportunities of interaction and cross-fertilization of ideas with their counterparts in other African countries and engender some synergy in the practice of law despite the variance in the different legal systems. More importantly, the Nigerian Forum of the African Bar Association is poised to be a catalyst in the defense of the rule of law and democracy in Nigeria. And this is without prejudice to the role of the NBA and, of course, other civil societies. At this juncture, let me inform you that on behalf of the President and Executive Council of the African Bar Association, there are a plethora of activities that will be coming up in the year, which will be delighted to have as many Nigerian lawyers as possible to attend. First, the African Bar is collaborating with the Ghana Forum of the African Bar and the Officer Law School for a lecture in Limbadi Beach Hotel, Ghana, on the 28th day of April 2022, with respect to a lecture that will supply you the details. There is going to be an annual conference of the African Bar coming up in Malawi between the 7th and 11th of August 2022. Our theme is instituting an enduring legacy of transparent and accountable governance in Africa, the roadmap. And of course, the African Bar Association, the Nigerian Forum, our chapter, is in collaboration with development partners, is also proposing a conference on the Nigerian democratic transition, this democratic transition 2023. In the last quarter of this year, the NBA will be duly informed in the course of the planning and execution of this conference, as it is very pivotal to the current process of Nigeria democratic transition. We are by this address inviting you to attend and to support the Nigerian Forum, to get some of its members to attend these conferences. We will also be relying on you to get members of the NBA registered for these various conferences. It is therefore our honor and privilege, Mr. President, to thank you again for this opportunity and to demonstrate this, that in confirmation of our preparedness to work with you and to work with the office of the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, we have come to the conclusion that the NBA can only be a partner in the defense of the legal profession, the rule of law, and of course, democracy in Nigeria. So please, I respectfully present to you, on behalf of the President of the African Bar Association and members of the Executive Council, this award of an appointment of the office of the President of the Nigerian Bar Association as partner in the defense of the legal profession in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I thank you immensely for your address. the kind words that you have expressed, and indeed for the award that you have just handed over to me from the Africa Bar Association. I'm indeed grateful, and on behalf of, because I don't receive that award in my personal capacity, I receive it on behalf of the lawyers in Nigeria, on behalf of our National Executive Council, and I thank you very much for recognizing that indeed we are partners. I think going forward very quickly, I think it's important that I hand over in a few months, but one of the things I think we need to do is a clear delineation of our roles, so that if we as foreigners, Hannibal is president today, you are Nigeria chapter, I am president of the NBA, it's important for us to clearly establish what we are meant to be doing, so that we work not at cross purposes, but we are on the same page. You know, I think it is something that we should do quickly, and we establish very quickly, so that those who come after us have a template that they can work with. It ought not to be, and it cannot be mutually exclusive, our existence. We must find a way to collaborate effectively, so that we are punching well within our weight category. We are able to, you know, make the maximum impact possible. So I thought I should drop that very quickly, because I want to know how we can collaborate effectively. Nigeria Bar Association and the Africa Bar Association. The other issue, as you know, you know what the mandate of the NBA is. We intervene and we ensure that the rule of law is upheld in this jurisdiction. We intervene in this area of legal education and continuing legal education. We just held a summit in Ado-Ekiti where we asked ourselves that we talked about reimagining legal education in Nigeria. We are churning out 5,000 lawyers every year from the law school. Meanwhile, people say we have too many lawyers, but I keep on saying that we have too many lawyers doing the same thing. It's not that we have too many lawyers. So we are not training our lawyers for contemporary reality. So there's a problem there. So 10,000 in 2 years since I've been president, they come out, they have been trained, and the tone from the top of our profession is that if you are not wearing a wig and a gown, you are not a lawyer. So that has stunted our growth. We have numbers, but we don't have numbers in the right places to fill up vacancies. And foreign lawyers are coming. I will come to that point now. Foreign lawyers are on our case. They want to come because they see the gaps, which we don't see. They see where they can service this economy, and we have ignored. So for us, legal education is critical. Continuing legal education is critical. We have resuscitated the MBA Institute of Continuing Legal Education, and we are churning out training programs regularly, hoping that our people, and the numbers are increasing every day, so that our people will take advantage of that, because we have areas that are not being attended to by Nigerian lawyers. I always talk about entertainment law. It's the new oil. Look at how Afrobeat has exploded exponentially. And each of these, you and I know that these people, the practitioners in that sector, their shelf life is very, or their shelf life is very, is minimal. How many of us still hear of the Banj anymore? It's fading, or has faded. Two-Face is on his way out. Wizkid, come in another 2 years, nobody will be talking about Wizkid. So they must maximize whatever it is that they have today. And who does that for them is their lawyer. But what we must, and at the level of the African Bar, I hope you would help in passing this message on. Don't go saying, I'm a lawyer, I can do everything. It's not correct. That time has passed. There are basic skills that must be learned in every area. That is why you will not take your wife to an orthopedic surgeon when she has ONG issues. Law has has also been transformed. And it's a very specialist profession also. So that legal education space, where the MBA is trying to do its best there, upholding rule of law in our country, ensuring that we hold the government responsible or we hold them to account. That in the last 18 months, I have tried to ensure that my team and I, we want the MBA to play that role. Told you, can you come please? We want the MBA to play that role effectively. Effectively. Please tell my sister that I'm at a meeting. Just tell me. You know, we want to play that role effectively. How have we tried to do this? Let me share with you. Is our independence as an association. And I must encourage the Africa Bar Association to find its independence. Before now, we are going to so and so state, we must see the governor. I don't see any governor. I don't have to see the governor. We are having next meeting in Abuja. If the state government does not fund it, we can't have the meeting. That's a lie. I'm happy to tell you that the Nigerian Bar Association is not broke. We can afford to run our own activities. We can afford, if we get donors, all well and good. If we don't get donors, we must continue with that. So that financially, yes, the African Bar is a tip I must give to you that we must try. Be prudent in our spending, prioritize what we need to spend money on, but at the end of the day, we must be able to function without going cap in hand to anybody who you have a responsible to hold. You're supposed to be holding him accountable. So we go to you, they say, we write for sponsorship. We want this, one that. The Attorney General says to me, we're still considering. I say, the show must go on. We have already moved on. If you say, they say, okay, I want to help with your accommodation, thank you. But we are primarily responsible for our own conferences, our own events. We held a conference in Port Harcourt, was sponsored extensively by the state government. They donated handsomely. But I told somebody yesterday, I said the governor wanted us to have a live television coverage. And he was very unhappy with me that we did not go for live, because he likes live TV. And I said, my budget will not allow for it. He said, upon all the money when I give you, I said, but you don't give me. I can't spend 20 million naira on live TV. I said, Excellency, when they come, say those TV, they like you, bring them, come. To cover the opening ceremony. I will not spend 20 million naira of MBA money, because it is now MBA money, on live coverage. On the scale of priorities, it doesn't rank. I told him, I said, 10 o'clock news, on them, you go see, we did it. I said, but that, you want to cover the whole thing, give AIT 10 million, give the channels 10 million. I said, no, we never reach so. Maybe the time will come when we can afford it. I said, I saw your hand, they tight. I said, I saw it, they tight. But the reason why I could have that conversation with him was if he insisted, I would write his check and give him his money back. We must bring our associations to that level. And the truth of the matter, I have sat here now almost 2 years, and I say, why have they created the impression that MBA is impoverished, or that we need to go cap in hand to government? So it's wrong. It's wrong. And I've spent the last couple of years just trying to clean up our finances and just do your budgeting, what do you need to spend money on, and then prioritize. We have our committees, we are funding the committees, we're not asking anybody for money. The Judiciary Committee, we had Justice Sector Summit, we had Legal Education Summit, we are paying our bills. So if Umahi decides to insult a judge, I can tell him exactly where he needs to get off, because I don't need to go and meet him on behalf of the association for anything. So I know I'm not a stranger to African Bar Association. I know the effort that has gone into resuscitating the bar. But that must be our destination. That's where we must be headed. Not just resuscitate, but also resuscitate. Get the country bars, like Nigeria, to be involved, so that the African bar is not beholden to anybody, any government, any individual. So Nigeria bar commits, Nigeria Bar Association commits, Ghana Bar commits. We make sure that the African bar is standing firmly and is able to intervene on the continent as it is expected to. So I just thought I should share that tip with you. So that's what we've been doing, and also law reform. We'll try to take our rightful position. You are a parliamentarian. We went back to the House of Reps, your constituency, and we entered into a memorandum of collaboration. The office that the NBA used to occupy there that we lost, we've got it back, so that we can be part of the process. PSC, Police Service Commission bill, we worked with them on it. Electoral, we worked with Mr. Speaker and his team on it. We have been collaborating with them. Set up a committee, we send our members to work with them so that we can be part of that process. There's no need coming after the thing has been passed. You know, the Senate, not so, as you know, the Senate, this current Senate, I'm still trying to figure them out. I don't know what exactly. I will say no more, but we are still trying to, whether it is the Senate or whether it is an extension of the. I will not say anymore. You heard me. But the House of Reps, we have been working closely with them, and you know, it gladdens my heart that they realize now that the NBA is alive to its responsibility in this regard. The other day, Mrs. The Justice Anya Dike came up with her judgment on Section 84 to the Speaker calls me immediately. What's the NBA saying? Can we meet? Because they know that we are back. You know, we may not agree on every point, but at least I know the NBA, what the NBA looked like when I was growing up. Those days, I know what the NBA. So the Speaker called me. The day to the man called me. I didn't have his number, but Truecaller showed me. He said, called me because he recognized that he had to engage with the bar. You know, and then so with regard to the House of Reps, we are working closely on the issue of law reform, and the African Bar Association will do well to see to the domestication of a lot of these treaties and all of that. So we must look at it. I'm sure that you are looking at all of those treaties that need to be domesticated locally to encourage government to do so. But even talking about treaties, you know, I mentioned that I was going to go back to the issue of ensuring that our lawyers are receiving training that will enable them compete in the world that we live in today. We have signed up to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. That's something that the ABA must pursue. We have signed up to that as Nigeria and our different countries. But are we training our lawyers to be able to operate in that space? Once you open your borders, what exactly are you letting yourself into? Which is why I say we must look closely at how we are training our lawyers. So your own jurisdiction is continent-wide. We must talk to the the Council of Legal Education in Nigeria and their counterparts in what is the curriculum? Are African lawyers being trained to stand shoulder to shoulder with their counterparts around the country, around the world, forgive me? And I don't know if you are aware of what is called the Africa Legal Support Facility. ALSF of the African Development Bank in recognition of the deficiencies as far as legal training is concerned. The African Development Bank had to set up that fund to help African countries train their lawyers, because most of the African countries go into negotiations with lenders, donors, and they are going there, and it is not an even competition, or it's not an even negotiation. So ALSF was set up by the ADB, and I would try, when we discuss further, I'll make sure that we go to Abuja. Dr. Adesina is president now. Let us take advantage of that facility so your continuing legal education arm must be looking at how we train our lawyers continent-wide. Because you have to ask yourself, how are they getting into this kind of agreements with China? At the end of the day, a whole country will lose its airport or lose its seaport. And because they're going into these agreements without the necessary know-how or the skill sets, because we're not training our lawyers. Trade law in the United States Department of Trade, there are 1,000 lawyers. Trade law is existential. It's an existential issue, or trade itself. I don't know how many people in Nigeria have that competence. We don't have many trade lawyers here. Meanwhile, we are operating in that space. Even in Nigerian is a WTO, DG. So, the collaboration is critical, very important. We entered into an MOU also with the Human Rights Commission recently. Our dear brother Tony Ojukwu is there, very welcoming, in fact, he's keen, and I'm sure that you will find him receptive also to the ABA when you go and see him, and also through him reaching out to the human rights bodies around the continent. We entered into that collaboration with them. We have resuscitated our Human Rights Institute of the NBA. It's chaired now by the Governing Council, is chaired by Chino Obiago, SAN, and we are working hard so that the mandate to that body, because what we have done, we have set it up on paper, but nothing was happening. The mandate is to, firstly, even just training for security agencies on just basic, the rudiments of human rights, how to relate with the citizenry as far as human rights is concerned. But another area we're looking at is even our business, the companies and all of them. The United Nations has come up with its prescriptions on how businesses must conduct their affairs, taking human rights into account. So we are going around. We're going to take our institute around to these big corporates. What are your labor practices? What are your how are you with regard to gender balancing and all of that? It's all part of the plan. So the Human Rights Institute of the NBA is up and running. We are renovating the old secretariat of the NBA where we used to be. So we're almost done renovating it. So that's where we have our Institute of Continuing Legal Education and then the Human Rights Institute, so that they stand alone and they can operate. And they will be source of significant revenue for the MBA. So we also have our sections. As you know, I used to chair the section on business law. The sections are up and running. So that's another area where we can collaborate with the Africa Bar Association. Because of COVID and all of that, our conference calendar was kind of upturned. But so we're slowly trying to come back to the normal calendar. But this year, we're going to have each month we're going to have one conference. But by next year, we'll have reorganized ourselves. It should be each quarter. So as the first one coming up is the section on public interest and development law, which I think is, for many years I did not realize the importance of that section, but now I am converted. So, and that is one section that I think will work very closely with with the AFBA. It is chaired by Monday Obani at the moment. MOU chairs that. And it is through that section that we intervene in affairs of society, public interest and development law. So we're going to Kanu to talk about the rule of law, and I forget the theme now. Not Kanu, forgive me, Sokoto, 22nd to 25th of May. 22nd to 26th, we leave on 26th. We're in Sokoto to discuss these issues. Sokoto State government will work closely with us. Speedel is very important, extremely important. Then the section of business law, we hold theirs in July in Abuja. And the section of legal practice, we're going to Asaba, also in July, early in July. But the annual general conference of the association will hold in August, 19th to 26th, and we're talking about bold transitions. That's the theme. The world itself is in transition. The legal profession is in transition. We must, as a profession, also be in transition. We cannot be stagnant, we can't stay where we are. We must adapt to all of these changes. So 19 to 26, we are going back to Lagos with the annual general conference. So there are many areas. But it will be good to sit down, do a proper delineation, so we're not crossing lanes, so that we can work harmoniously towards the improvement, or at least the advancement of the legal profession on the continent. You have my assurance, you have my commitment as president or not to the African Bar. I was in Port Harcourt when we met in Port Harcourt, when we had the Tanzanian what's his name, Kikwete came to 2017. I was in Port Harcourt. Before then, I participate in African Bar, and when Hannibal became president, even more so as my brother. But I think it's important that we have that strategy. How do we get the regional, the country bars to own the Africa Bar? They must, and indeed, if Nigeria joins in, I'm happy there's a vibrant Nigerian chapter. I think it will encourage our more members to join in. So I think we're well on our way to ensuring that. But we must, the role of protecting the rule of law, protecting the judiciary, Nigerian Bar, African Bar, it is almost a divine mandate. So that one we must not slack on, and we must continue to do. Before I close, another area that we have been focusing on is the judiciary. And I made it clear as soon as I became president that the NBA will not be a rubber stamp in the process. We will actively participate, and we will show to those who superintend that sector where we think things are not being done right. We held the Justice Sector Summit recently. We are focusing on 3 areas. The appointment and selection process. It's a problem there. It's a major problem. And we have told them, we said, let's close the door. This is a family meeting. Let's have a frank conversation. It's not us and them. It's our profession. We are lawyers. We're in the legal profession. You are judges. You're in the legal profession. We're only as strong as our weakest link. There is a problem in the way we appoint or we select judges. Let us agree. When I became a member of NJC, I made public my first encounter with the process. How do you do it? You spend 120 minutes, 2 hours interviewing 20 people who want to go to Court of Appeal. I say, is this the first time? They say, yes, this is the first interview. I will interview my driver for much longer than that. What is going on? Ask them questions. When you want to ask hard questions, say leave them. I say, Court of Appeal? Court of Appeal? So I was naive, but I I said, my Lord, I'm sorry, I'm new here. Is this how you people do it here? That's when when I went to NEC, I now reported to NEC that, see what I saw. Then somebody now quoted me and the judges, they were all upset and everything. I said, who could I not vex so, but that's what I saw. And I'm not a member of NJC as Olu Akpata. I'm a member of NJC as an NBA president. I must go back and tell my people what thing I see. A man says he wants to go to court of appeal. He was asked, what is the least pendants? He said he doesn't know. So you think I won't go and tell my people? You give me a man's CV, half a page. Where is he going to? He says he's going to court of appeal for Sharia. I said, but my Lord, is it only Sharia will be doing? They say no, he will do all. I said, this one, he can't do all. This man can't do all. You take a maritime matter to this guy. Fish, you'll be fish out of water. He will know nothing. And that is one of the busiest, it's the busiest court in the land. I said, no wonder the matters will not move. I will now say I have an FPSO, a vessel, drilling oil on the high sea. We have a problem. I will bring it before this guy. He can't understand what I'm talking about. So I asked him, I said, my Lord, I'm sorry. He said, Mr. President, you are dragging us back. We have to move on. I said, move on to where? You are at the edge of the precipice. You want to fall. He said, you want to move on. Where are you going to? It was, for me, it was an eye-opener. After that, we interviewed someone for High Court. We interviewed someone for, I said, is this how judges are selected? There's a problem. So that's why we say we must have that summit. When we had the summit, they were not relaxing. The judges, when they saw that, I'm not after you, we're after the process. Some judges now say, let us be frank. One judge in the High Court of the FCT here gave us an example. He said, since we're having a frank conversation, let him tell us of his own brother judge in that court who came to meet him to say, they say we are going to locus inquo. Now which one is locus inquo? He didn't tell us in private. The man was sitting on the stage. He told us, he said, which one is locus inquo? Justice Okoro of the Supreme Court said, oh my God, that's terrible. I said, my Lord, it's not terrible. There is a judge. Let us ask her, how did he get there? So when you see us complaining about the process, my Lord, it's telling on you. If a man is sitting as a high court judge in Abuja here, doesn't know what locus inquo is. Yeah. He said, which one be locus inquo? Another one came and said, he said, give us a substituted service. Come by way of ex parte application. They just say, no, they have told us not to be giving ex parte anymore. Put them on notice. He said, my Lord, we can't find them. That's why we came. So we now said, you see that it is the system. We will all suffer. Instead of Court of Appeal President income, she is still carrying face. The vex say because I said that Court of Appeal judges. I said I was going after the process that was about to send people to your court. I was protecting you. See, they will learn on the job. How can they learn on the job? I have how many Court of Appeal justices called, say they are suffering. Say because they will write their own judgment, they will write for this man because the man doesn't know jack. But if you don't do the man's own, your work will spoil. Meanwhile, we complain now, Madam is carrying face. I invited them for Justice Sector Summit. She didn't come. She stopped all the judges from coming. So when I gave my speech, I said, see, we're here. The Justice Court of Appeal, they're not here. Because we criticize the process by which they're selected. How? They will look at they will look at how do they select them. They say, bring all their cases. Now read the case. How many did you do? Did 300. You are not looking at what he said in the case. Just count the number of cases. Then after that, count number of recommendations. Can you imagine? Who will not recommend? They go to all their judges. You just come. I have 32 recommendations. What is that? You go to one. Are you not all judges? They will say, yeah, I think it's a fit and proper. That's not the point. Let him go and ask him questions. Firstly, on integrity, his character, then his knowledge of the law. How can you do? It's a mess. So we are focusing on that appointment and selection. Then the financial autonomy or independence of the judiciary is critical. Then judges' welfare is also well. And then last but not least, discipline. Holding them to account. If you see the one that Court of Appeal Owerri, no, Federal High Court, somebody goes with originating summons, takes Shell to court that there was spillage in Ogoni, originating summons. The judge say yes. Shell say no, we dispute that. Say no, say, I looked at it, it's okay. 800 billion. He gives judgment on originating summons. 800 billion. Then they even apply, get Mareva injunction to stop Shell because they say, Shell, you are selling your assets. Don't sell any asset until you pay this 800 billion. It goes to Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal says it's true. Pay the money, 800 billion, into an interest yielding. You know our brother who is there that they want to charge for content. Pay the money into interest yielding accounts. There's a problem. It's originating summons. We asked this man to slide this thing over to general. Let us go file our writ. Say no. We believe them. They say there's nothing here. It's 800 billion. Come on, pay. So discipline of judges is very important. So I think African Bar Association definitely has its work cut out for it because these are not Nigerian issues only. As we go around the continent, you see that even our own judiciary is even better than what you see in some other countries on the continent. But I think these are the areas we are focusing on: judiciary, legal education, and I think on the continental level, I encourage the African Bar Association to also step into that role and fill it properly, adequately, effectively. Again, I commit that we will work with the African Bar to ensure that it fulfills its mandate, and I recognize that the Nigerian Bar Association must support the African Bar if the African Bar is to succeed in this. So let us, like I said, put the templates, put it in place so that we can, and those who are coming after us will see that there's already this collaboration, just to build on it, you know, you know, you are in the, I mean, a lot of us who do cross-border transactions, another area that you are very well positioned to, it's just even just that database. You know, I need a lawyer in Conakry. I have to go to Paris and ask my colleagues in Paris to please recommend a lawyer for me in Guinea. Because we are not, you know, we're not synergized. Oh, every day, my friend, somebody just asked me today now from my office, okay, we are looking for somebody to collaborate with in Ethiopia, you know, or to collaborate with in, you know, that's another area that we must bring our resources together. Let us know what is available on the continent. I must recommend to you one of our colleagues in Accra, David Ofosu-Dotie. He runs a David Ofosu-Dotie. I will send you his details. He runs a law firm called AB David in Accra. He is one person that has tried to, they've opened offices in many countries on the continent, but beyond that, he has tried to put together a database. He knows the lawyers in, you know, he knows what's going on in every jurisdiction and all of that. So he's somebody that the African Bar will benefit from his knowledge of what's going on in the continent, the Ohada region, and also Anglophone. You know what I mean? So our people, if you need a lawyer, I need a lawyer in Gabon, I will call Paris first, because I know that my guy in Cameroon cannot tell me, or my guy in Dakar can't tell me who is in Gabon. But if I call Paris, they have the database. Call one of the law firms in Paris, they will tell me. And we have just opened Africa Continental Free Trade. Our clients are going to be moving around. You must collaborate, and you cannot collaborate if you don't know, if you don't have the information. Who is the expert in that jurisdiction? You know, who is in Cote d'Ivoire? Who is in Algeria? Who is in Egypt? You know, so that's definitely something that the African Bar, you are positioned. I mean, just by who you are, your role, the doors will be open for you immediately, you know. So I thank you. I don't want to go on and on, we have our work cut out for us. There's a lot to be done. So let's start. Thank you very much. My sister, I do want meeting. I'll call you right back. So Malawi is a comment, Abi?
Malawi is
first week in August.
7 to 11. Well, without taking much of time, maybe I would like General Shalangwa. Another young man just joined us, a young man with so many gray hair. That is Menisi Omoroteo, former Commissioner of Education, Edo State.
I was looking at you see that
young man with so many gray hairs.
Can I have our
effectively.
What's that our Edo Association?
Umagba
meeting.
Yes.
Welcome.
I think it's a gathering of lawyers.
Yes.
It's usually difficult to have monologues. Our brother Austin, former secretary, wants to talk to us, and then General Shalangwa will do a vote of thanks. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, let me stand up. I just wanted to use the opportunity being here. It's a privilege to be here.
It's a privilege to be able to speak with you like this. Most of the time, you are very fine.
Yes. Just to ask a question, I actually sent you something. It's in relation to these judgments that are being made. For example, now we have the new electoral act, and they are saying that one section is not going to apply. I really would want to implore you on behalf of NBA to say something about it, because when the National Assembly has done its job, the executive should not be able to use the judiciary, for example, to try to obviate what is already done. We have an electoral act. You cannot say because you've gone to some court somewhere, you are removing a section because it favors somebody, like with the Attorney General. And I think it's wrong. And I think that the NBA has to speak up and say something, or in fact, even bring an action to stop what they are doing, to say that, to bring an injunction against what they've done, to ensure that that act of the National Assembly is not in any way abrogated, because that is against our Constitution. And I feel that anything, and I know that there was a decision concerning Umahi, and I'm thinking that really and truly, there is a lacuna in our Constitution which the judiciary should be able to fill in. We should not say that the Constitution has provided for something that it has not provided for. So, for example, where in an election a party wins, or somebody wins based on under the aegis of a party, and he wins in the majority, just because the occupant of that office decides that he's moving party to maybe the party that came forth, the party that came forth that did not win should not be able to enjoy the benefit of what the party that won had. So one individual should not be, for example, if 1 million people voted for the winner, the party that didn't win should not now, one individual should not be able to overturn their decision simply because he chooses to move to another party. I think the NBA should do something about this, even if it's through Spider, if it's through any of its sections, but you should do something about it. And I would want you especially to champion that cause, because you've done so many things that the last 6, 7, 8 NBA presidents, for reasons best known to them, with all due respect to them, failed to do. And I think it's an opportunity we should not lose, especially in these trying times. So many things are going to the dogs, and I think something should be done about it. Please, Mr. President, we support you, and we are there for you, and we are ready to do the spade work if that is necessary to ensure that these things are addressed. And we are not, maybe off record, I'm not happy with what the AG is doing, and I think that it should be brought to heel. The NBA is the only vehicle we have that can do this, otherwise we'll take it on individually, and we cannot do that. We cannot do that. But with the NBA, we can do so much. So that is my That's just my position. Thank you so much.
Thank you, just to quickly respond to that before the general speaks. Thank you, sir. You know, we must approach these issues without sentiments. And we must recognize let me use the word enemy. I use it loosely. We must recognize the enemy for who he is. There's a game plan. We cannot be sentimental. We must be hard-nosed and we must be clear in our objective how to counter that strategy or the plan. So, Justice Anyadike Inumoahia decides that 8412 of the Electoral Act is unconstitutional and says that not only should it be discountenanced, Attorney General should take TPEX and go and clean it out. Attorney General who was sued, so you know the game plan. But we must, in our response, a lot of lawyers went to town and called the judge all sorts of names and all of that. Meanwhile, we had just castigated Mahi for doing the same thing. I said, so we can't afford to fall into their trap. So my statement, I dealt first with that issue. That no, you cannot do that. Call them to order. I called Prof. Chidi Odinkalu. I said, no, Prof, you can't do this. So he went on Twitter, he retracted, he deleted what he had posted and all of that. After I said that, then I said, we are concerned about the judgment. And we have asked for the record of proceedings. Let us look at how my Lord arrived at that very curious decision. And we are doing that. I have somebody more here who is going to try and get all of the stuff so we can check it out and understand how you can do that. Because my understanding, and I told you that the Speaker of the House called me on this issue. They are also going to court. Because firstly, the issue of 30 days and 60 days has to do, the constitutional provision has to do with government, public servants. The issue of 60 days has to do with political, there's a distinction. But even beyond that, the point I want to even make, it even has to do with party. Before you go for party primary, you, as a political appointee, you must step down 60 days too. The Constitution talks about those who hold public officers. If you want to run for general election, you step down 30 days too. So there's a clear, at least to my mind, difference in as far as the scenarios are concerned. So I sent my statement to the judge herself, saying, my Lord, we are going to have to try and understand how you arrived at this decision. She said, noted. So that is what NBA can do, to bring it to the fore. But we have to, that's why I say we can't play into the hands of these people and then lose focus. The judge is this, the judge is that. No, we can't do that now. So we can focus on what the issue is. Can the judge do what she did? Strike down 8412. Apart from that, actually tell the Attorney General to delete it. We're not going to let that issue go without somebody else deliberating upon it or dealing with it. So we are working on it, and we issued a statement. Our statement is clear, and we'll come back in case they think of what it. We'll come back and say, okay, we have looked at the records. This is our finding, and then we'll take the necessary action that we need to take at that point in time. Indeed, speaking with the House of Reps, the Speaker, and all of that, they are still mulling over who can appeal. You know, and I know that there's the technicality there of who can actually appeal. Because when the Speaker said that we're an interested party, I said, I had to disagree. I'm still a lawyer. I don't agree, you're a parliamentarian, I don't agree that when the House of Reps has passed a law, or the National Assembly has passed a law, it is the National Assembly that has to now go to court to be defending the law. I don't agree with that. I think that is where the issue of functions official comes in. You have done your job. It is now a law of this land. It cannot be that every law that you pass, if somebody goes to court to challenge the law, you now stand and say, National Assembly, we passed this, so must go on. No, I have a problem with that. It doesn't quite work that way to my mind. So we're still looking for how best to appeal. They're looking at who is directly affected by that judgment, who can we call to, I believe they're still also going to appeal at National Assembly. Let a judge or a court say you have no locus, but they're still going to try to do that. So I think that one was, that is where we are with regard to the second point you raised. Apart from this one, please just remind me, 8412, you were talking about 8412, but there's another one that you made that I wanted to, I did. Attorney General. Yeah, that you don't quite agree with him. Again, I think it's important that we deal with the Attorney General with caution. Okay, let me tell you, a lot of people, it took me also a while to take him to court. Because I went there and I recognized very quickly that the man, he doesn't even have our time. Not the NBA they pay now. Or he's consumed by other issues. And I said, so as a matter of strategy, I said to myself, I have a lot we have to achieve. I don't need any battles with this guy who I'm not even on his radar. You all know what he's looking for. And you all know what he's focused on. But when he now enter our lane, attempting to amend RPC without due process, I went to see him. And he admitted to me, and he wasn't lying, that he didn't know when this thing was done. I told everybody, they said, no, he's lying. 1 year later, he was consistent. On Channels TV, he said it again. I didn't know when the thing was done. I have a sense of where that came from. And we are seeing some of it playing out at the body of benchers right now. You understand? There are those within the profession who want to reduce the NBA. You understand? There are those who want to give all our powers to the body of benchers, create more bar associations. That's what they want to do. Create more bar associations. And then, because with the introduction of universal suffrage, those who held NBA like this have lost out big time. So they have to find another platform. So they want to move it to the body of benchers. That's why we have been fighting the battle of the new Legal Practitioners Act, which really, when you look at it, is a body of benchers act. The first thing you see there shall be a body known as the body of benchers. I said, is it not Legal Practitioners Act that we are talking about? Why is it the first thing they are talking about, the legal body of benchers? They want to issue stamp and seal. They want to issue practice license. They want to inspect law offices. All the work that NBA does, they want to move. Then you know, the most when I got there as president, the first thing I saw the bill, they say, hey, sign. I said, no, I just they come now. Make I read them. They said, if the NBA is in crisis, they didn't define crisis. They said, if the NBA is in crisis, the body of benchers can take over the association. I fought that one. They say, okay, they will delete it. They said the General Council of the Bar shall be a committee of the body of bench. I said, how? I fought that one. They removed it. The last one, we're about to now take the bill for public hearing. So we have what they call the harmonization committee at the body of benchers between NBA and body of benchers looking at this act. Let me backtrack. A.B. Mahmood has suggested through a committee of his that we should review the whole process, that body of benchers is not even necessary. They took offense. They threw it out. So during Polusoro's time, they now brought about this harmonization committee. Let us blend our positions. But of course, you all know that Polusoro was a bit distracted in his presidency. By the time I showed up, They brought this 17-page document. I said, that's the entire Legal Practitioners Act. I said, 17 pages. Then I started looking. That's why we saw this one about taking over the NBA. General Counsel of Bar will be a committee of the body of benchers. So we now went for another meeting. They say, okay, we are ready now. President, should people have taken the one that you don't like? Are you happy now? I say, I'm happy. I wasn't happy, but I said, I'm happy. So they now took it to, we're now ready to go to National Assembly. You remember what they have done? You know, they've made chairman of Judiciary Committee of the Senate, chairman of Judiciary Committee of the House of Reps. They made them body of benchers, their members. So Okoyemi, Bamidele, and Luke, they are members of body of benchers. So that smooth sailing. So I have the copy of the bill that we have been working on, the one I've been going back and forth with them. But you know, when you're having public hearing, as a stakeholder, NBA receives the bill direct from National Assembly. So Okoyemi sends me a copy of the same bill, or at least what I thought was the same bill, to come and attend public hearing as they would do for any other bill. But this particular one is one that I was already involved in. So I was reading my own copy. I did not read the copy of the bill that was attached to Okoyemi's letter, but I gave it luckily to the first vice president to say, read them all, now the same thing, make we just ready to go for the public hearing. The first vice president comes to meet me and says, President, you don't read this? I said, yes, now, it's there with me. He said, go to the interpretation section. Definition section. The one I had says, NBA shall mean Nigerian Bar Association or its incorporated trustees. The one they sent to the Senate say NBA shall mean Nigerian Bar Association, comma, its incorporated trustees or any other body set up for the organization of legal practice in Nigeria. No. That is to include Edo Lawyers Association, Urobo Lawyers Association, anyone. So that they will go upstairs to body of benchers as a regulator. The law gives them all those powers that NBA used to have. You have reduced NBA, then you have further reduced it by creating others. So somebody said to me, that what kind of inelegant drafting is that? How can you say NBA shall mean? I said, don't joke with these guys. We know who they are. They are smart lawyers. I never underestimate the opposition. I said, do you know why they defined it like that? NBA in multiple statutes is referred to and given powers. So, for example, in the Legal Practitioners Act, the NBA is entitled to 90% of bar practicing fee. So if you now define NBA to mean Nigerian Bar Association and others, that money will be shared. Yes. NBA shall have 13 representatives in the Council of Legal Education. If you now say NBA means Nigerian Bar Association and others, it must be all the others. You cannot give it only to NBA has a representative on the directors of the Corporate Affairs Commission. One. This year, Nigeria Bar you go take, and next year you give it to Edo Lawyers. Just reduce it. That's what they want to do. So the fight, so where we are now, is the provision of their bill that says the body of benchers shall be the regulator of the legal profession. I say, it will work. You are a body that receives subvention from the federal government. You have in here serving and retired judges, Attorney General of all the states, Attorney General of the Federation, and a handful of lawyers. How can you regulate the legal profession when you are a government entity? I say at the minimum, even if NBA is no longer a regulator, let us create an independent regulator, which is what Ebi Mahmood and Tony Digbe were suggesting. Let us create an independent regulator. Say no, you say it must be that way. It's body of bencher where the body of the highest distinction. So I can say, well, this is the message from NBA. If you insist on going with this bill in this shape or in this form, remove our name from inside. We are not part of it. They say, this is wrong. This is arrogant. This one. Don't know when they not coming that day. I say, because my papa, it's okay. I'm telling you where the bar stands on this matter. I'm not giving you my personal opinion. I went to a National Executive Council meeting. The bar approved it. Even after that day, I went again, called an emergency meeting. The bar says, this is where we stand. You cannot be the regulator. So that's the fight. That's where we are. So Olumide has now taken over. And I'm about to write him a letter to say, you are a past president of the bar. They even somewhere, I was reading somewhere, they say you are the new Rotimi Williams. Where do you stand on this matter? Come out, because most of these people, they do these things under the cover of these matters never come up. I'm going to write him, I will share the letter to the whole world. Say, Oga, past president of the bar, where do you stand on this matter? That day now? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Chief Awomolo, we were fighting inside the bill. He said that for the NBA shall nominate, the bill says, members to the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee. Awomolo said, no. Bosan shall nominate. I said, Chief, who is Bosan? What is Bosan? He said, no, you must give due respect to the senior advocates. I said, sir, at the NBA National Executive Council, 40 positions are reserved for senior advocates. How much more respect do you want? What is Bosan? Why are you bifurcating the profession? But that is the whole idea. The NBA, they are no longer able to control the NBA. It's one man, one vote. You know, watch it now. The first election brought about Ebi Mahmoud after universal suffrage. Yes, a senior advocate, but not an insider. The next election brought Polusoro, senior advocate, but not an insider. Then worst case scenario, Akpata emerges. As far as they are concerned, he's not even a lawyer. What law does he do? Have you ever seen him in court? He's not a lawyer. They say he's not a lawyer. Then he is friends to their children. He's now president. Let's sort it out quickly. Do the law. That's what is going on. That's why the opening of legal year this year, I was speaking, I had about a 12-page speech. And I told them, I asked them, I said, who wants to destroy the NBA? Supreme Court, and you know the microphone there, they work well. I said, who wants to destroy the NBA? That's what is going on. And everywhere I go, I say this to all our members. The speech, the letter I will send to Olumide, I will send it to everybody because I live in August. I want it to be on record. If they succeed, it is because we allow them. If they succeed, it is because we allow them. So I made this point, just to say that the Africa Bar also, because you see, look at the big picture. In a democracy, in a fledgling democracy, you now put the bar, the legal profession under the control of government. What does that portend? What does it portend? Yes, you gag it. That's what is good. That's what the plan is. That's what the plan is. And so I just thought I should mention it. General, I'm sorry I took too much time.
No problem. I'm the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, the chairman of our Nigerian Forum of the African Bar, my other colleagues. Well, I don't really have any questions to ask, just make one or two comments briefly. Like some of you know, I'm still a serving officer in the Nigerian Army. So some people may ask, what is the relevance of military or military lawyers or personnel taking active role in the activities of the Nigerian Bar Association or the AFBA? It is very, very obvious that the members of the Nigerian Armed Forces and the security agencies generally are part and parcel of the Nigerian society. We are also citizens, and we are under the doctrine of compact. We are subject to military as well as civil laws. We are subject to all the civil laws of the country. So that being the case, then it stands to reason that as professional lawyers in the armed forces, we should be active members of the NBA and any other professional association of lawyers. This is the reality on ground, even long before I was appointed Director of Legal Service in the Nigerian Army. I know I was discussing with somebody shortly before the meeting started, whereby I told the person that way back in 1992, we were actually specially sponsored to attend the NBA conference in Port Harcourt, where that crisis happened. Yes. With people like Gani Fawimi and the rest of them, and first only female NBA president who were there. And also, formerly the lawyers in the Nigerian Army, or let me just say the lawyers in the Nigerian Armed Forces, made a case way back in 2011, which was approved by the NBA Secretariat as at that time, 2011, to make or to create a forum in the Nigerian Bar Association for military lawyers, way back 2011. So that was even before the one that we have in the AFBA. So it was actually the NBA, and the NBA has been projecting the Armed Forces Forum at all its conferences. Of course, I know that there has been some maybe absence, or we have not been able to play a very active role in that regard in some few years back, but I'm sure most of us know that at conferences, the Armed Forces Forum has been very, very prominent. The one of the African Bar, of which I am the chairman of the Armed Forces and Security Agencies Forum, was established just 2018. So the one of the NBA is actually the oldest and the first. And to show you the importance of the military, playing active role in the legal profession, the associations, is the fact that I also happen to be the chairman of the African Military Law Forum. The African Military Law Forum was established by AFRICOM, that is the U.S. Africa Command. It was established by them, sponsored by them, run by them. So they know the importance, even though that one is strictly for military lawyers on the African continent. But as chairman, I'll be suggesting to them to also bring in all relevant stakeholders, which they understand the reasoning and they are ready to accommodate that. For instance, in 2019, the president of the African Bar, Hannibal Waifo, was invited as a resource person to give us lecture for the African Military Law Forum in San Remo in Italy. So that is, you can see the collaboration. So there is need for us to continue to collaborate on what we are doing, because it's very relevant. We do collaborate with so many organizations apart from the NBA and the AFBA. Even the National Human Rights Commission of Nigeria, it was during this our collaboration with them that the National Human Rights Commission suggested and recommended for the armed forces to establish human rights desk in its various formations, and it was adopted. I mentioned it the last time that we visited the chairman. So at all our formations in the army, we have appointments for legal or human rights desk. to take care of the issues of human rights, need for respect for law by members of the armed forces and security agencies. So, so that shortly explains, or briefly explains why you see me here, why I've always been in the picture regarding the activities of the NBA for a long time now. And I believe that we will continue to grow more and more. Of course, like I said, I'm even due to retire by December 2022. After that, I will actively take part in the NBA and the AFBA. Like I was saying, somebody, our president of the NBA, I believe most of us here are also members of the NBA. So, yes. So first and foremost, we are members of the NBA. I participated at the last NBA conference in Port Harcourt. I was there. So, and so many of our military lawyers too participated in Port Harcourt. So, sir, that is just the little comment that I want to make, so that those who don't know, they can now see the relevance or the importance of lawyers in the armed forces and security agencies, because they are professional lawyers who went to the same law school, are trained like the civilian lawyers. So we are representing the NBA and the other associations in our place of primary assignment in the military and so on. It is our duty to always respect advise the commanders, draw their attentions to the position of the law, so that whatever they do should be in line with even the motto of the NBA, which is to promote rule of law in whatever we do, whether in the military or outside the military. So that is the reason why you see me here, and you continue to see me even after I retire. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, General. You know, as I said, you're one of us, and we're extremely proud of you. But also, we appreciate greatly the role that you play in ensuring that there is a synergy between the legal profession and the armed forces. 2 points I wanted to make quickly is, firstly, we need to resuscitate the Military Lawyers Forum. I told you, please make notes so that we can get it done before the conference in August, so that you can, because I remember when we used to have the conference here in Abuja, the forum was very, very active. Secondly, we have set up what we call the Security Agencies Relations Committee. It's chaired by J.K. Gadzama, SAN. And the reason we did that was because it had become a recurring decimal, almost a pandemic, that lawyers are harassed by security agents in the course of carrying out their professional responsibilities. The police, mainly, but also the military. EFCC operatives beat up the chairman of NBA Makodi in their premises. Till today, the chairman has refused to apologize. He has refused to call out the persons. They beat up the chairman of NBA Makodi in the presence of the Attorney General of the state, the Solicitor General of the state, all of whom testified to that fact. And I told Bawa, I said, Bawa, would the AG come and be lying about, I said, your guys have goofed, but you know the arrogance of power and that impunity. So we set up the committee. I went to see the Inspector General of Police to say maybe we should press the reset button, start again. Let us understand, ourselves better, terms of engagement. How a lawyer walks into a police station, he's not the enemy. You understand? The problem comes because some of them see the lawyer as threat to their income. Because they are the ones doing the job now of lawyers. So we need to reestablish, the role that the lawyer plays in society. Every day we are getting reports. Every day. One lawyer in Oron was beaten up by DPO. But I agree, they don't blow an eye in office again. This one, it's so we set it up, and I would like you to please, work with us. Let us reestablish that, let's bring dignity back to our members. Because the members who are in this situation, they form the bulk of our membership. The ones who go to police station every day, they are the majority. And you know, when I ran for president, I said, we want to make sure that it's a bar that works for all. So we want to make sure that those people too feel that the association remembers them. Once they take a decision that I'm not going to police station again, because every time we go is one problem or the other, they have lost a major chunk of their income. That means the practice is no longer working for them. So I just thought I should mention to you that we have that. Another thing we set up you mentioned it that we should NBA should sue when it needs to. We set up the Public Interest Litigation Committee. Right now it's a standalone committee. The whole idea is that we're going to merge it with SPDL at some point, but we had to set it up because it didn't exist even at the SPDL level. So when the attempt was made to extend the tenure of the Inspector General of Police, we went to court through that committee. When Twitter was banned, we went to court. When that policewoman was fired for getting pregnant, we went to court. That is the committee we're using to ensure that we are intervening in these matters. They're about to, yes, when we had this national identity, this NIN registration business in the middle of COVID, where people, you just call all of us to come, we went to court, you know, and we have quite a number of other matters that the committee, they are championing. And I think it's important that AFBA also has a committee like that or finds a way to collaborate with those kind of committees at the different country bars so that we are championing those causes. You know, there must be accountability. We cannot focus on whether or not the matter will be concluded in time or whether or not the wheels of justice move slowly or whatever. We must take steps. And last but not the least, this is just me remembering some other issues. We're trying to set up what we call a court monitoring scheme. Now I'm going back to the judiciary. I forgot to mention, you know, I said to you that we're dealing with appointments, selection, discipline, welfare. I forgot the most important one, the efficiency of the system. We are focusing on the efficiency or lack thereof of the system. That is where most of our members operate. You go to court, they say this one doesn't sit in 12. When it comes to you, no, I'm not taking this, I'm not taking it. You know, what is going on? So we're setting up a court monitoring scheme. We're using technology. We're going to go, lawyers will be, like iReporter. You go to court, you just tell us what's happened in court today. What is going on? Why is the system, why is it not moving? And we have told them, come up with a system of punitive cost regime. If you say lawyers are also part of the problem, your mother died? Oh, sorry, but today, for the one that we came to court, that man's airfare, or whatever it costs his client to bring him to court, you will pay. Next time, you can't stop your mother from dying, but you will not come and slow down the system. You know, we are asking that the system has to be more efficient. So we will launch it very soon. I'm hoping that we'll get as many volunteers as we can to participate. A judge, say you get to court, say you went for judges conference. Judges conference has been scheduled since last year. So why are we just hearing now? The man traveled from Ekutikupa to Federal High Court in Akure or somewhere. You can't do that. So that's something else we're working on. But it's only 24 months, the presidency of the NBA. So that is why what we've done is we have fired up all the committees and we have gotten them to work to a point where we are hoping that you, the members, will ask my successor. Judiciary committee was working before. What's going on? Even if you don't want the team that is there now, appoint your own, but let them be working. We must hold them to account. Those who say they want to lead the NBA. It's not a chieftaincy title. It's not a chieftaincy title, so we must hold them to account. Thank you, General. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think we had
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
a successful day. Forward to further engagements. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maybe we can have a group photograph.
Where is our photograph? I told you that photograph again.